So welcome back everyone. Uh, we are in the 20th session of Fun with Heroes, and that's the amazing thing, right? We are uh, covering more number of people every week, and I hope someday in your studies or somewhere in your other exams, other part of your career, you will come across these names. Okay, and normally in our education system, not much focus is there on these parts unless you go for those government exams kind of thing. But it is good to know these names and their work, okay, just for our benefits, okay, because there is so much to learn and so much to take inspiration from. So what are we going to do? Okay, which heroes are we going to cover? So let's see. So these are the four heroes we are going to cover this week. Okay. So, any idea about anyone? There are four gentlemen.
Second one is Ram Prasad Bismil.
Oh, nice. Yes.
And the last one is Surya Sen. I think so. The first one is Gopinath Bodole.
Okay. That's good.
Uncle, the first on the second row is Gurbant Singh.
Oh, that is also correct. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, nice. We are collectively able to identify all four of them. That's nice. Yes.
Today I'm going to write it all down, whatever info you give, whatever info you are going to give us, so that I'll research more about it and I'll be sure I'll be in the rank next time.
No issues. There is no competition going on. And yeah,
No,
you can.
competition.
Yes, yes, yes. You can write it
Every
down.
time I just
Yes.
every time just forget whatever you tell. So today I'm gonna write it and research more. So like even
Yeah.
it's good for my knowledge.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And if you are not able to write, okay, if you just want to focus on the story that I tell, I normally share these booklets once in a month, right? But what I will do, I'll also share these stories after our session. Okay, so you can also go through those stories actually. Yeah, so on that WhatsApp group, I will share those stories. Okay, so that will be good actually, so that you can refer to them. You can read at your own pace later on. Yeah. So
Uncle, is the fourth really Surya Sen?
yes, fourth one is Surya.
Yes.
Fourth one is Surya. Yes. So
So the first one is correct.
yes, yes, first one is correct. Now we'll see. Okay, have we got everyone right or not? We'll see that in next 20-30 minutes. Okay, so let's start. Uh, so our first story is of an army officer who worked under the British Indian Army, okay, before independence, and then became a commander in Azad Hind Fauj, the INA, Indian National Army. Okay, and he remained active in social and political life even after independence. So his name is Gurbaksh Singh Dhillon, or popularly he was known as GS Dhillon. So Commander GS Dhillon. So what's his story? So Gurbaksh Singh Dhillon was born at Algon in Punjab on 18th March 1914. He was popularly known as the Colonel G.S. Dhillon. He joined the training battalion of the Punjab Regiment as a sepoy. Ultimately, he was sent to Indian Military Academy, which is IMA in Dehradun, and this is before independence. Right? This was the time when it was still a British Indian Army. Okay. And due to the start of the World War II, his training was cut short by 1 year, and he graduated in March 1940. So while he was undergoing a training in Dehradun, World War II started. So all entire batch was graduated, and they were deployed in the various battlefield. So G.S. Dhillon went to okay, he became a part of the 14th Punjab regiment, okay, of the British Indian Army, which was called the Sher-di Paltan, because it's a Sikh Paltan was there, Sikh regiment was there. It was called Sher-di Paltan. He was a part of that, and then in 1941 he was sent to Malaya, which is a Malaysia of present, to fight against the Japanese army. So there was a world war going on between the Axis countries and the Allies countries, right? So Japanese versus British was happening in the Southeast Asia, basically Singapore, Malaysia, and other regions. So this is where the G.S. Dhillon was fighting as a part of the British Indian Army. In February 1941, British forces surrendered to Japanese. Japanese won that, and they were forced to surrender. And that happened in Singapore. And Dillon was made a prisoner of war, POW. He became a POW in 1941. And as we talked about this earlier, Colonel Mohan Singh basically created Indian National Army of the Indian prisoner of war to fight against the British. He talked to the Japanese and convinced them to create another army out of this prisoners of wars, okay, because they also wanted to fight against the British. So Dillon joined this INA, okay, and he attended the Biradari conference called by Mohan Singh, which laid the foundation of INA. This happened in Singapore. Okay. And then it was placed under Ras Bihari Bose, as we saw last time, and then ultimately in 1943, Subhash Chandra Bose became the leader of INA. Okay. And INA was expanded. Different brigades were made, the proper like a military unit. Different brigades were created. And G.S. Dillon became the commander of the Nehru Brigade. So they had multiple brigades. We earlier talked about the Rani Lakshmibai Brigade. So it also had a Nehru Brigade, Gandhi Brigade. Okay, so G.S. Dillon was made a commander of the Nehru Brigade. Now, Nehru Brigade then fought against the British Army near the Irrawaddy River in Myanmar. Okay. In May 1945, INA suffered a defeat across all the regions. They were fighting in Imphal, they were fighting in Myanmar, they were fighting in other places, and they basically had to surrender to British forces. So at that time, Dillon and other leaders, basically General Shahnawaz and others, were put up in the Rangoon jail, and this was the time when the Netaji then ultimately died in the plane crash. Okay, so they had no leader, and they were captured by the British forces, and they were put in the jail in Rangoon, which is in Myanmar. And G.S. Dillon, Prem Kumar Sehgal, Shahnawaz Khan, all these were brought to India, and there was a historic trial happened on them for waging a war against the crown, because they were earlier part of the British army. Then they fought against the British, so it was a case of a treason against them. Okay, so that trial became known as a Red Fort trial. It started on 5th November 1945 at the Red Fort of Delhi. But what happened that this trial united entire India, okay, because everyone felt sympathetic to these INA soldiers. Okay, we saw the story of Bhulabhai Desai, okay, earlier, where he fought the case along with Pandit Nehru and others, fought the case, okay, for these INA soldiers. So after the long trial, they were released. So, and then India got independence. G.S. Dillon remained active in a political life. He did social work as well, and he was awarded Padma Bhushan in 1998. So he lived in 2006, and then he also wrote an autobiography called From My Bones, okay, describing his INA experiences.
From My Bones.
From My Bones. Okay, this is the book he wrote. Okay, that is his memoirs, okay, autobiography of his INA experience. And this is the right hand side. We have the newspaper cutting, okay, about these Azad Hind Fauj officers when the Red Fort trial was going on. Okay, this was like Colonel Shahnawaz Khan, G.S. Dillon, and Prem Kumar Sehgal. Okay, they become like a national heroes that time. Yeah. So this is the story of G.S. Dillon.
Yes.
The next story we have is of Surya Sen, or as he was also called Surya Sen. Now, this is a story of a hero who is considered one of the greatest revolutionaries of Bengal and India. Okay, like Bhagat Singh, like many others. Okay, he is of that league. Okay, he revolutionized the activities in the eastern part of India, especially in the Chittagong sector, which is right now in Bangladesh. Okay. And
Uncle, will we also have his that Ali Ambika's this too? Story
yes,
too?
yeah, we do cover most of his allies actually. Yeah, we have covered Prithvirata, Vadida, and Kalpana Datta.
But Ambika, have we covered Ambika?
Ambika, we have not covered. We'll try to cover that. I'll need to check that. Yeah, we had
Okay.
Binod Bihari Chaudhary as well. So there are a lot of people we are covering who are part of this Chittagong uprising. Yeah. So, and with the help of few students and friends, he managed to capture Chittagong. He made Chittagong free for at least couple of days. So, what's his story of Surya Sen? And which is the story of the Chittagong uprising, basically. So, he was born on 22nd March 1894 at Naupara in Chittagong.
But in my Marchitra Katha, it said that he was thrown from a ship.
Yeah, there are multiple versions of that, but thrown from the ship. Yeah, that's the later part. Okay, when he died. Yes, yes. We'll come to that. Yeah. So, so he's also known as the Surya Sen, as I mentioned, and inspired by his teachers, Surya Sen joined Anushilan Samiti, which is a revolutionary organization in Bengal. So it was operational in Kolkata. It was also operational in Chittagong. That this was a time when Bengal was a united Bengal. So whatever we are right now having, West Bengal and Bangladesh, it was a one region that time. Okay, and this Anushilan Samiti was active at multiple places in Bengal, and Surya Sen joined that. He was a closer to Chittaranjan Das. Earlier we saw the story of Chittaranjan Das, who was a mentor to Subhash Chandra Bose as well. So Surya Sen was also close to him. He participated in the non-cooperation movement called by Mahatma Gandhi. So initially he was also inclined towards the non-cooperation movement. He participated there in Chittagong. Okay. And when the movement was called off after the Chauri Chaura incident in 1922, he was dejected. And like the other revolutionaries in the northern side of India, like we'll come to, we already covered some of those stories. He started the revolutionary organization in the Bengal. Now, at that time, he was working as a maths teacher in Chittagong, and that is one of the reasons he was being referred as a master da. Okay, he was a teacher by profession, and he used.
He was very good at studies.
Yes, he was good at studies, and he was a master planner and organizer, right? So with the help of Ganesh Ghosh, Loknath Bal, Ananta Singh, Bika Singh, and he raised a small army of young revolutionaries under the name of Indian Republican Army. Okay. So most of these people were the young revolutionaries were his students actually. Because he was teaching there, so these were his students. He asked them to join the freedom struggle. So he raised a small army actually and trained them. They were trained in arms, and, making bombs, gun firing. They were trained. Okay. Now they laid out a plan to cut off Chittagong from the rest of the country and achieve freedom. So on the night of 18th April 1930, they raided the police army in Chittagong. So there's a long story there. Okay, there are a lot of things behind the planning, and they had to delay the attack as well. Okay, but in the night of 18th April 1930, they first raided the police armory in Chittagong. The purpose was to get hold of all the military armaments in the Chittagong, okay, so that the local police don't have that thing, and they separated out Chittagong from the rest of the country. Another group captured the army of auxiliary forces. They cut off the telephone, telegram, railway lines to ensure that external help is delayed. Okay, so Chittagong was basically isolated from the rest of the country, and then he hoisted the Indian flag on the premises of the police armory and established a provisional government. So that was the first time an Indian flag was hoisted under the British government. Okay, so officially he declared Chittagong as free, okay, from the British, okay, and even established a government. But of course, British retaliated, and they came up with a higher forces, greater forces, and after 2 days, revolutionaries had to run away because they run out of the ammunition. Okay, so they hid somewhere. Some of them they separated out. Okay, so Surya Sen hid in a disguise at many places, and he was well supported by the locals. Okay, so all the locals supported them. So he hid at many places, but he was betrayed and finally was arrested on February 16, 1933. Now, for British, he was a dangerous man. Okay, so they didn't want him to become free again. He was brutally tortured by the police in jail. Even his limbs were broken, teeth were broken. He was finally hanged on 12 January 1934 after a brief trial in Chittagong. And they were so afraid of him that they didn't hand over his body. Okay, they threw his body into the sea. Okay, as Aditya was mentioning, because they do not wanted him to become martyr kind of thing. So they were afraid of him and through his birth. And that's the legend of the Surya Sen. He ignited the revolutionary spirit in the Bengali youth. Okay. And now, right now, there is a metro station in Kolkata named after Master Surya Sen in his memory. And the story actually is covered in a multiple series or movies, okay, over the time. Yeah. And there are Bengali literature on that. Okay. Unfortunately, not much is there in the mainstream history, but yeah. So these are a couple of Hindi movies that were made on the story of Surya Sen and the Chittagong uprising. Okay, so left one is by Manoj Vajpayee, right one is by Abhishek Bachchan. Yeah, and these are some of the stories that covered the history of Chittagong uprising. The next story we have is of
I knew.
a leader from Assam. Okay, so from West Bengal now we are moving to Assam, just above that, and who participated in the freedom struggle. Okay. He was a part of the Indian National Congress. He was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi, and after independence, he laid the foundation of Assam's growth and Assam's progress. So who was Gopinath Bordoloi? So Gopinath Bordoloi was born in Raha village in Assam. He was a deeply religious person and wore a simple khadi cloth. He never had a lavish lifestyle. He believed in simplicity. He was influenced by the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi at a young age. And when the Indian National Congress started their activity in Assam in 1922, okay, he became its volunteer. He joined that, and he quickly rose through the ranks and played a very important role in Assam politics. So throughout the 1920s, 1930s, he became a very important leader in Assam. Okay, and Assam also had internal conflicts. Okay, so he played a very important role in ensuring that the Assam is connected to the mainstream India. Okay, so now in 1940s, what happened that India was approaching the independence and there was a possibility of partition, okay, and which ultimately happened. Okay, India was partitioned into two separate countries. So on one side, it becomes West Pakistan, which is the present Pakistan.
These separate countries, right?
Yeah, at that time it became a two country. Okay, then in 1971, Bangladesh became separate, right? So in 1947, on the eastern side,
in 1971, Bangladesh was part of which part of India?
No. It was a part of East Pakistan. So when India got an independence, basically when India what happened that when the partition happened in 1947, on the western side we had the West Pakistan, and the eastern side we had East Pakistan. Okay, so and there's a long story of that. Okay, covered in the works of Sardar Patel, V.P. Menon, Jawaharlal Nehru, and others. How the partition actually happened and why that particular region became part of the Pakistan, why particular region became part of the Assam. And as we know, there are a lot of small provinces were there, and British played a politics of giving them a choice of joining either India or Pakistan. Some of them joined India, some of them joined Pakistan, and there was a lot of mess that time. And because there was the Bengal was already partitioned, and the majority of the Bengal was going to the East Pakistan, but there was a possibility of even Assam becoming a part of the East Pakistan. Okay, and if Assam becomes a part of East Pakistan, then entire Northeast is gone, right? Because Assam is the connecting link between the West Bengal and the other Northeast states, right? The Meghalaya, Manipur, Nagaland, and others, Arunachal Pradesh. So there was a possibility that the Jinnah and other Muslim groups were trying very hard to make Assam as a part of the East Pakistan. Okay. But Gopinath Bordoloi played a very key role there to ensure that Assam becomes a part of India. Okay, it doesn't go to East Pakistan. So otherwise, the map would have been totally different. okay, the Assam and the entire Northeast would have been part of the Bangladesh right now. Okay, but he prevented that. He played a major role there, along with, of course, Sardar Patel and others. So he played a very important role there. And as partition happened, there were communal riots, okay, because the people were migrated, okay, from one country to another country, and there were a lot of communal riots and a crisis of refugee. So Bodolai, now after independence, he became independent Assam's first chief minister, and he ensured that the riots are kept minimum and refugees are given proper rehabilitation. The people who came back came from the East Pakistan to Assam, okay, they were given rehabilitation and ensured their safety. And after that, he worked on the communal harmony and stability of the Assam and made it a very secure and progressive state. So Assam remains a very key state for India, and a lot of the foundation work was done by Gopinath Bodolai. And he was popularly known as Lokpriya. The title was given by then Assam governor Jairam Das Daulat Ram, who, because he was very popular among the locals of Assam. And in his memory, the airport of Guwahati, which is the main airport of Assam, is named after Gopinath Bodolai. Okay. So those who travel to Guwahati will know that the airport is named after Shri Gopinath Bodolai. So that's
Uncle, why Lokpriya is written at the bottom?
Lokpriya is the title that was given to Gopinath Bodolai. Okay, the way we gave a title.
Because he cared for people.
Yes, yes. Like we have a title, like Sardar was given to Sardar Patel, okay, Vallabhbhai Patel. We have a title Mahatma given to Mahatma Gandhi. Okay. Similarly, Lokpriya was a title given by the locals to Gopinath Bodolai because he was a very popular leader there. Okay. So that's a in a Bengali, rather Assamese, not even Bengali, the Lokpriya. The last story we have is of revolutionary on the northern India. Okay, now covering from Bengal and Assam, we are moving to the northern India. And this is a story of an Indian revolutionary who reignited revolutionary activities after the Chauri Chaura incident in Punjab and Uttar Pradesh and brought the young rebels together and led them. This is the story of Ram Prasad Bismil. So Ram Prasad Bismil was born in Shahjahanpur of Uttar Pradesh on 11 June 1897. He was associated with the Arya Samaj activities since his childhood, and he was called a Panditji. Okay. A lot of his writing is named by the Pandit Ram Prasad. Okay. He was a writer. Okay. He wrote a lot of books and poems and used that income to buy ammunition for the armed revolt. Okay. He wrote against the British. He wrote revolutionary materials. And he wrote in the Hindi and mainly Hindi and Urdu using the pen names or nicknames of Ram, Agyat, and Bismil. Different names he used different times, and that's why he's known as the Ram Prasad Bismil. Okay, Bismil was not his part of his name actually. This is the title he used actually. Okay. Now, what happened that he was also part of the non-cooperation movement initially when he was young, and when it was called off in 1922, he was rejected like the other young freedom fighters that time. So he founded something called HRA. We talked about HRA earlier, the Hindustan Republican Association, which was a hub of the revolutionary activities in India. So Chandrasekhar Azad and Ashfaq Khan and Roshan Singh, everyone, he brought them together. Bismil drafted the constitution of HRA. Okay, he was a founder of that. He drafted the constitution in Allahabad. Okay. And later on, this became a HSRA. Bhagat Singh converted HRA into HSRA. That's a different story. Now, on 9th August 1925, Bismil, along with other revolutionaries, executed the plan to loot the government treasury in a train. Okay, and this is a Kakori robbery. Okay, that happened because they needed funds for the arms. So they decided to loot a train, and they stopped the train coming from Saharanpur near Kakori, which was a small station before Lucknow, and they looted the British treasury. But British police retaliated, and they captured 40 revolutionaries within a month actually. And even Ram Prasad Bismil was arrested because he was the main leader actually, okay, of this Kakori robbery. So long legal struggle happened, and after 18-month long legal struggle, he was given a death sentence along with 3 other revolutionaries. Okay, and finally he was hanged on 19 December 1927 at the Gorakhpur jail. Okay. He was fairly young that time. Okay, and but his sacrifice inspired a hub of other
No.
revolutionaries like Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, and others. Okay, they were the followers of Ram Prasad Bismil. So they continued the foundation laid by Bismil.
He died himself.
Yeah, he was hanged. Yeah, like the revolutionaries, the way Bhagat Singh was hanged, Sukhdev was hanged. Okay, even the Surya Sen we just now saw, Bismil was also hanged because of his revolutionary activities. So that's the story of Ram Prasad Bismil. These are some of his writings. As I mentioned, he mostly wrote in a Hindi and Urdu. Okay, so some of his books he wrote. Okay, so the Man Ki Lahar, Kranti Gitanjali, his own autobiography called Atmakatha.